Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradha Hari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradha Hari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradha Hari Yashodanandana Brajajanaranjana Yashodanandana Brajajanaranjana Yasmunatira Vanachangari Yamunatira Vanachangari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradha Hari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradha Hari Yashodanandana Brajajanaranjana Yashodanandana Brajajanaranjana Yamunatira Vanachangari Yamunatira Vanachangari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe Jaya Radha Kundari Hare Radha Kundari Hare Radhe Jaya Radha Madan Mohan Radha Madan Mohan Radhe Jaya Radha Govinda Radha Govinda Radhe. Jaya Radha Gopinata Radha Gopinata Radhe. Jaya Radha Damodara Radha Damodara Radhe. Jaya Radha Ramana Radha Ramana Radhe. Jaya Radha Giridhari Radha Giridhari Radhe. Jaya Radha Shama Sundara Radha Shama Sundara Radhe. Jaya Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Jaya Krishna Balaram. Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai, Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Vishwapad Paramahamsa Parivrajagacaya Shota Shatta Shishamachila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jaya Vishwapad Paramahamsa Parivrajagacaya Shota Shatta Shishamachila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananta Kodi Vaishnavrinda Ki Sirupsi Sanatan Bhattaraganachi Jiva Gopala Bhattaras Saraganath Sadhu Swami Prabhu Ki Prem Se Kosi Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shridhari Gaura Bhaktavrinda Ki Sri Radha Krishna Go Gopal Gopinath Cham Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhana Ki Vrindavan Dham Ki Mathura Dham Ki Mayapur Dham Ki Jagannathpuri Dham Ki Tulsi Maharani Bhakti Devi Ki Ganga Yamuna Devi Ki Hare Nam Sankirtan Yage Ki Sri Sri Gaunitai Ki Sri Sri Krishna Balaram Ki Sri Sri Radha Shama Sundar Ki Go Premanande Hare Hare Bol Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki All glories to the Assembly devotees, all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Guranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. So today is Ekadashi Tithi, 2 times a month. So on this day, Prabhupada recommended that we chant more. And it is a tradition amongst the Gaudiya Vaishnavas to chant more on Ekadashi Tithi, to do parikrama of Vrindavan or Govardhan. And also when there is Amavasya, the new moon, and Purnimaditi, the full moon, usually the Vaishnavas, they are chanting more and they are doing parikrama and some more hearing and chanting. So Srila Prabhupada also, actually, before every class, he used to chant this beautiful song, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. And actually this song is from Bhakti Vinod Thakur, who wrote many songs. Actually 4 song books are there, Sharanagati, Gitavali, Gitamala and Kalyan Kalpataru. And in one of these books that song is there. And so Radha Madhava, actually the family deities of Bhaktivinoda Thakur from his ancestors, they were worshipping the deities of Radha Madhav. So in Orissa, there's one place, Choti Mangalpur, where they were residing, and one Vaishnav, so he found them maybe 30 years ago, 35 years ago. And then actually used to bring them to Vrindavan. Anyone saw Radha Madhav, these deities of Bhaktivinoda Thakur? Actually, every year now during Kartik, they're coming to our temple. For 1 month, they're staying on our altar. And then we worship them every day. So otherwise, no deities are coming on our altar and staying on our altar. Except the Braj Mandal Parikrama Gonitai, when they're coming here to Braj, for a few days they come on the altar. So Radha Madhava are very beautiful deities, and by good fortune they come to my house every year also for 1 day. This year they will come a few days and stay in my house. So I have the opportunity to serve them. So Radha Madhava, Kunja Bihari. So different names of Krishna there. And even then in this world we can see many deities are there in our society or amongst the Gaudiya Vaishnavas. And the deities of Krishna, they have different names. So Radha Madhava, there's Radha Kunja Bihari, and so on, Madan Mohan, Govinda Dev, according to Krishna's wonderful qualities, according to Krishna's pastimes. Oh, Krishna is known as Yashodanandan, the son of Maria Yashoda, Nandanandan. Or Gopinath, Gopijana Vallabha, so the Lord of the Gopis, or Radhakant, Radhanath. So this song is very helpful, so we can be absorbed in the wonderful memory and pastimes of Krishna and his associates in Braj. Girivaradhari lifting Govardhan hill, the darling of all the Brijavasis, the elderly gopis, Krishna's friends are there and performing pastimes in different places, specifically also Jamuna Tira Vanacharya, the bank of the Jamuna river. So Krishna is every day going to the Jamuna and mostly taking bath also there. Sometimes with the gopis and with the gopas and the cows and the calves. So that is the goal, to enter the pastimes of Krishna. At the same time here we hear to read the Bhagavad Gita, and we have to first realize that Krishna is God and we are very insignificant. We are not this body, we are spirit soul. So for that purpose, so Krishna spoke the Bhagavad Gita, the preliminary knowledge and also how to engage in devotional service. But first we need to have knowledge, transcendental knowledge. And so Prabhupada, he has very mercifully, so he has not only translated the shlokas of Bhagavad Gita, but he has given wonderful purports, so we can properly understand the Bhagavad Gita. Otherwise it's difficult to understand Bhagavad Gita without the purport of Prabhupada, without the help of the pure devotees. It is difficult to understand Krishna's words. So text number 27, 4th chapter. Sarvāṇīndriya-karmāṇi prāṇa-karmāṇi cāpare ātma-saṁyama-yogāgnau juhvati jñāna-dīpite. We'll read together. Sarvāṇīndriya-karmāṇi prāṇa-karmāṇi cāpare ātma-saṁyama-yogāgnau juhvati jñāna-dīpite. Sarvāṇīndriya-karmāṇi prāṇa-karmāṇi cāpare ātma-saṁyama-yogāgnau juhvati jñāna-dīpite. Okay, now you may.
Prāṇa-karmāṇi cāpare, prāṇa-karmāṇi cāpare, ātma-saṁyama-yogāgnau, juhvati jñāna-dīpite, sarvāṇīndriya-karmāṇi, prāṇa-karmāṇi cāpare, ātma-saṁyama-yogāgnau, sarvāṇīndriya-karmāṇi, prāṇa-karmāṇi cāpare, ātma-saṁyama-yogāgnau, jñāna-dīpite.
Mataji's. Sarvāṇi of all indriya, the senses, karmāṇi, functions, prāṇa-karmāṇi, functions of the life breath, cha, also, apare, others, ātma-saṁyama, of controlling the mind, yoga, the linking process, agnau, in the fire of, juhvati, offer, jñāna-dīpite, because of the urge for self-realization. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Isya Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki. Translation. Others who are interested in achieving self-realization through control of the mind and senses offer the functions of all the senses and of the life breath as oblations into the fire of the controlled mind. Purport. The yoga system conceived by Patanjali is referred to herein. In the Yoga-sūtra of Patañjali, the soul is called pratyag-ātmā and parāg-ātmā. As long as the soul is attached to sense enjoyment, it is called parāg-ātmā. But as soon as the same soul becomes detached from such sense enjoyment, it is called pratyag-ātmā. The soul is subjected to the functions of 10 kinds of air working within the body. And this is perceived through the breathing system. The Patanjali system of yoga instructs one on how to control the functions of the body's air in a technical manner so that ultimately all the functions of the air within become favorable for purifying the soul of material attachment. According to this yoga system, pratyag-ātmā is the ultimate goal. This pratyag-ātmā is withdrawn from activities in matter. The senses interact with the sense objects, like the ear for hearing, eyes for seeing, nose for smelling, tongue for tasting, and hand for touching. And all of them are thus engaged in activities outside the self. They are called the functions of the prāṇa-vāyu. The apāna-vāyu goes downward, vyāna-vāyu acts to shrink and expand, samāna-vāyu adjusts equilibrium, udāna-vāyu goes upwards. And when one is enlightened, one engages all these in searching for self-realization. Om Jnana-timirandasya Jnananjana-salakaya Chaksuranmiritam Yanam Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya-manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Sayam Rupakadamayam Dadati Sapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yotapadakamalan Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahaganaraknatan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Sri Vishakanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinobandho Jagatpade Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastude Tapta Ganjana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshari Brishabhanu Sude Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Paritanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nihitananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shivajari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare Hare. So in this 4th chapter, Krishna is giving transcendental knowledge to Arjuna. And in the beginning of the 4th chapter, so Krishna is explaining that this knowledge is coming through disciplic succession. And ultimately Krishna is the source of everything and is Adi Guru, is the original spiritual master, giving knowledge to Lord Brahma, and who then gave to his sons, the 4 Kumaras, to Narada Muni, and they in turn gave to their disciples, followers, this transcendental knowledge. And as Krishna is explaining, sometimes the knowledge is lost. And therefore, again, an empowered personality is coming, and he's again giving this transcendental knowledge to different devotees. So in this way the transcendental knowledge is coming in disciplic succession since time immemorial. Practically since the beginning of the creation, Krishna is arranging, because ultimately the purpose of this material existence is to give a chance to the conditioned souls to understand their actual position, that they are not this body, that they are spirit soul, that they have a relationship with the Supreme Lord, and that they are meant to serve Krishna, the Supreme Lord. And Krishna is very systematically giving this knowledge to Arjuna first, explaining to him, making him understand that of course he's a devotee of Krishna Arjuna, but by the will of the Lord, so according to time, place and circumstances, then even his associates, they are put in this position, nimitta matra, to be instruments in the service of the Lord, in the pastimes of the Lord. So for that purpose, so Arjuna was put in illusion, but that is transcendental illusion, and he was not exactly sure what to do. So therefore, he expressed His surrender to Krishna and accepting him as the Lord and himself as a disciple to be instructed, and ultimately for the benefit of all the fallen conditioned souls. So Krishna is giving this knowledge, specifically in this 4th chapter, explaining that the purpose of his coming here is to protect his devotees, destroy demons or demoniac tendencies, and establish a religion. And then he's also explaining in this same chapter that one who knows properly janma karma cha me divyam evam yoveti tattvata in truth. So one has to fully understand Krishna's personality, that he is the Supreme Lord, but at the same time also in regards to his different manifestations, his energies, and the process of devotional service that has to be learned from the representative of the Lord. From Krishna directly, if he is present, or Mahaprabhu, or whatever incarnation, or from the representative of the Lord, the spiritual master, who has seen the truth, as explained in the same 4th chapter. So, in a few verses, text 34, Tadvidi paripatene prashna sevaya upadekshanti te gyanam gyaninas tattvadashinaha. So when the Lord is not here, present, personally, then we take shelter of his representative. But the Lord is very merciful and is manifesting in the deity form. So we can see him, we can serve him, and even we can establish a relationship with him. But that usually also there, now we need the help of the spiritual master, who will teach us how to serve Krishna. And he will tell us what Krishna likes, what Krishna doesn't like, and so on. And then in this way, with the help of the spiritual master, we can serve the Lord and we can advance in our spiritual life. Krishna also in this chapter is explaining that as one is surrendering to Krishna, Krishna will reciprocate. So ultimately full surrender has to be there, with body, mind and words. But it is a gradual process. In a conditioned state, when one is under the modes of material nature, it is not possible to fully surrender. At least we should try. And then in purified consciousness, then we can fully surrender to the Lord. So Krishna is explaining this chapter also that different kinds of persons are there who are in this world in a conditioned state. Some are just engaged in materialistic activities, and some they want to merge in impersonal Brahman. And but then those who are more fortunate, they come in the association of the devotees of the Lord, and then they will understand what actually has to be done. And in this chapter also, Krishna is explaining that the intricacies of this material world, so of action and reaction, is not so easy to understand. And therefore is also recommending we should know what we should do. And then we should know also what is forbidden. Vikarma, akarma. So that we have to know. So we have to serve Krishna in a favorable way. We have to follow some regulative principles. And prohibitions are there, like no smoking, no drinking, and so on. And then according to that, we have to perform our devotional service. Externally as practicing devotee, and then internally being aware of our transcendental position as spirit soul, and being aware of our relationship with Krishna, specifically in Braj, because Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Kali Yuga avatar, and he came to give specifically Braj Bhakti. And through the Yuga Dharma, the process of this age, which is the chanting of the holy names, the Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So then here also is explaining more Krishna that so when we engage in spiritual activities with knowledge, even it is mentioned some bandha jnana has to be there. We should understand that we are not this body, we are spirit soul, and we have a relationship with Krishna. So, but even as devotee, although we know, we have heard many times, but many times one is still acting on the bodily platform. And then the false ego is there, identifying with his body or with the possession of this world. So we should have the proper knowledge and that we are not this body, we are spirit soul, we are meant to serve Krishna. And then also, so Krishna is explaining that that we should act, every endeavor should be devoid of the desire for sense gratification. Kama sankalpa varjitaha. So we should have the determination so that, and Rupa Goswami has explained also that what is Uttam Bhakti, pure devotional service, Anyabhilashita sunyam jnana-karma navritam, anukulina Krishna anushilanam bhakti ruttamam. We should do things which are favorable as Krishna wants. Not with the desire to get something in return, or not what we want, but what Krishna wants, that we should do. So then Krishna is also recommending that the devotee, so he should be perfectly controlled, means the mind and intelligence, and without false ego. But the real understanding is Jivara Supoi Krishnera Nityadas, I am the eternal servant of Krishna. And when we are transcendently situated or trying to be transcendently situated, then actually Krishna will help and he will give us spiritual intelligence, sadbuddhi, that he has explained also in Bhagavad Gita in several places. Tesham satariyuktanam bhajadam pridipurvakam tadami buddhi yogam tam yem namam upayantite. I give the buddhi, the intelligence by which one can come to me. So then also, therefore this bhakti yoga is also known as buddhi yoga. So the intelligence has to be there, and it should be spiritual intelligence coming from Krishna or from the scriptures, from the spiritual master. So we have to be trained, so we know what to do and what not to do. And then we'll be guided also from within. And then always, so Krishna is further explaining that we should give up all sense of proprietorship and act only for the bare necessities of life. Prabhupada used to say, simple living, high thinking. We should live simple, of course. Brahmachari, he doesn't have much, he has 2, 3 or 4 sets of clothes. Simple living place. Sometimes brahmacharis 2 together, 3 together in one room. As a grihastha, you can have a little more, you can have your own house and of course you may have some more clothes and you may have a car, mobile and all these things may be there. But even there, someone has to practice that one should live simple as much as possible. And then simple living and high thinking. High thinking meaning thinking about Krishna, thinking how to serve Krishna, thinking how to give up attachment to this material world, and do everything, every endeavor for Krishna's satisfaction. And in this way, so one will become free from this entanglement of this material world. Otherwise, this karma, so one is acting and then there's also the reaction is there of our activities. If Krishna is not in the center, one is bound and therefore one has to take birth again. So therefore here specifically in these verses, so Krishna is trying to make us understand how we should act so we can become free from the entanglement of this material world. So he's also explaining that so one should be satisfied and do one's duty. And even in the second chapter Krishna is explaining, but we should not be attached to the result of one's duties, of one's activities. But whatever one comes naturally, then we may take that, but even that, for example, some has to be given in the service of the Lord, for the householder, if he's earning money. So some with earning that should go for the service of the Lord, or the Vaishnavas, or do Go-seva, help others. And then we take care of our family also, that has to be there. So we should free from duality of this world, happiness and distress. Of course, it is bound to happen in this world, some happiness and distress will be there, but we have to tolerate and take pleasure in the self, in the relationship with Krishna. So that is transcendental happiness. And then there may be transcendental distress, maybe there also. If we cannot see Krishna, and then the devotee is distressed and he will cry out. So Krishna has to be in the center. And in this way we can be free from the dualities of this material world. But there's transcendental varieties there that we have to also understand. It's not that spiritual realm is there and there are no emotions are there. No emotions are there. And because they are there in the spiritual world, therefore they are here in this world. But here Krishna is not in the center, and therefore it is material. But Krishna has to be in the center. And emotions are there for serving Krishna. And so whatever we do is for Krishna's pleasure. With the consciousness, with the senses. So everything we do for Krishna's pleasure ultimately. So that should be the mood. So the devotees in Krishna consciousness, so if they're offering everything to Krishna, then they become actually transcendental. And then they will be able to join Krishna's pastimes. And then also in the last verses also, so Krishna is explaining about, so of course the yogis, the Krishna devotee is there, who is properly situated, the bhakta, who is doing bhakti yoga. But then some yogis is explaining, they worship the demigods, and by offering sacrifices, and then to the demigods, and so they may get some result. But that is actually not the perfection. Of course, different kinds of yogis may be there, and different kinds of sacrifices are there. Sometimes they worship Vishnu also, at the same time they worship also Brahma and Lord Shiva. But ultimately, Yaga-vāyu Vishnu. Yaga is meant for Vishnu ultimately. But then the demigods may get their share. Just like when we do yagas also, for Krishna's pleasure, but at the same time then Krishna's associates, they will get their share too. When we offer, for example, to the deities, Radha Krishna, and then the gopis will also take prasad. We offer the Gonitai, Mahaprabhu's associates, Krishna Balaram's associates, they will also take prasad. And we offer something and we get the Mahaprasad. So we also get our share. So, even he's explaining some impersonalists maybe there want to merge in the impersonal Brahman, but that ultimately is futile. So because actually we are meant to serve Krishna. And so the conditioned soul, they came actually from that situation. So the Brahmavadis or impersonalists, they want to merge in the impersonal Brahman. They may go there in the spiritual world, but they are not serving Krishna. So that is actually the situation of those who are following this world. They come from that realm. And so specifically here in this verse here, those who are interested in achieving self-realization, so through control of the mind and senses. So and the mind and the senses, they have to be controlled. And that is explained here and in the different devotional scriptures, even as explained by Prabhupada Patanjali yoga system. Ashtanga yoga is there. Yam Niyam, Asan, Pranayam. Then after is Pratyahara. And then comes Dharana, Dhyan and Samadhi. So we have to follow some rules and regulations. And things to do and things not to do. And so some control has to be there. And by doing yogasanas, pranayam is for controlling, as explained here, the life airs and the functions of the senses, or for the functions of all the senses and of the life breath, as oblations into the fire of the controlled mind. So in other words, the senses have to be engaged in Krishna seva. And the breathing also is there, and even it is explained. So for example, Sanatana Goswami is explained in Hari Bhakti Vilas, even when we chant the Gayatri mantra, before chanting the Gayatri, we may do some pranayam. By doing pranayam, a breathing exercise, then it is more easy to control the mind and the senses. And then we may chant the Gayatri properly, even for chanting japa. So we have to sit properly. Prabhupada used to say, sit properly. Even during class, sit properly. Not like this. Now sit properly. And then you have to control the senses. So we're breathing also. Of course, we have to breathe. And not mechanically, but when we chant japa also, we take a deep breath and then we chant the Maha Mantra, a few Maha Mantras, and then again we breathe in. So in this way, automatically when we chant the Maha Mantra, then the breathing will be controlled. And usually the senses are controlled. And we have to try. Therefore, we chant in a quiet place, early morning where there's not too much noise. And in the temple, in Prabhupada's house, in one's house. But in the morning time, or if even you can go somewhere, go to Goshala, you may be chanting there. Morning time it is more quiet. But then after 7, 8 o'clock, then the people are coming, walking around, you hear the cars going here and there. Then it's more difficult to control. So we have to use our intelligence and be in a place which is more peaceful. So then it is easier to control the senses, the breathing, and the mind. And then we can chant and we can hear. And then when we chant and hear nicely, and the senses are controlled, then dharana, pratyahara in Patanjali's yoga system, withdrawing the senses from the sense objects. So that has to be there. And then we can remember Krishna, dharana sometimes. And if you practice day by day, then dhyan, then you can remember more. Krishna is wonderful. So you chant the holy names and then you can remember his form, his qualities, and then the pastimes. But the endeavor has to be there from our side. And then we can be successful. So we have to endeavor to control the mind, the senses, the breathing to some extent, and our activities. But even on our own we cannot achieve success. But we need kripa, we need the mercy of the Lord himself, of the Vaishnavas, of the spiritual master, and then we can be successful. So Prabhupada is explaining according to Patanjali. So if one is attached to this world, that is explained as parāg-ātmā. If one is detached, pratyag-ātmā. So Atma refers to the soul, but as explained here also it may refer to the mind, or even sometimes to the body, because ultimately we are inside this body, but not only the gross body, but the subtle body is there, of the ego, the intelligence, and the mind. So Atma can refer to the soul, even Atma can refer to the Supreme Soul, Paramatma or Krishna. And it can refer to the mind or the body, because they're related to each other so intimately. We are in this body. But the main point is that we have to concentrate on the Supreme Soul, Paramatma or Krishna, who is the source of the Super Soul also, who is Vishnu Murti, accompanying the conditioned soul in this world. But then if you are in Krishna consciousness under Mahaprabhu's shelter, and Mahaprabhu, he came to give Braj Bhakti, that is the loving sentiments, the loving mood of the inhabitants of Braj, the gopis, the gopas, and so on, and then we're trying to follow their mood, and then we can give pleasure to Krishna by the mercy of Mahaprabhu. And then we can become attached to Krishna. So by being always engaged in spiritual activities, and that's explained also then, withdrawing the senses from the sense objects, from the material sense objects. Of course, then the spiritual sense objects are there, like you see the deity, the eyes are there, so you see the deities. You hear about Krishna, you touch Krishna, you smell the incense offered to Krishna. So in this way the senses are purified. But we have to withdraw. Like for brahmachari, he should not look at beautiful young girls. So no, he should not hear gramya katha, unnecessary talk. So this way we have to, the sadhaka has to withdraw the senses from the sense object, material sense objects, and the positive way is to see the deities, to hear about Krishna, because to only withdraw the senses and do what? Some activity has to be there, spiritual activity, and then we can be successful. So the different, so here explains the life breath. So the prāṇa-vāyu is there, the main prāṇa-vāyu is there. So the life air is there, prāṇa-vāyu. And within the prāṇa-vāyu, so the soul is situated in the heart region. But floating, it's not that the soul is not within the physical heart, which is there in the body. But the soul is within the life airs, which are there within the body, in the heart region. And then Purport is explaining different life airs. The prāṇa-vāyu is the main life air, but then there are other life airs, 5 main ones, and there are 5 secondary ones also. So, but we don't have to worry too much about the life airs, but we have to just try to see that Krishna is in the center and we engage everything in Krishna seva. So every breath should be, every second should be engaged in Krishna seva. So we have to choose to surrender to Krishna every second. And so we try, and then we beg for the mercy of Hari Guru Vaishnav, because simply by our endeavor it will be difficult to attain perfection. But with the help of the spiritual master, the Vaishnavas, then we can be protected. And we need ultimately the mercy of Krishna to be successful. Hare Krishna. Any question? Yes?
Two questions. First question, as you said, when we offer anything to Krishna, other Guru Maharaj, Parampara, everybody is there, they get their part.
Yes.
So what is the actual procedure at home? Because we offer to Krishna.
Yes.
We should separately, after, now it is prasadam. After
Yes.
Krishna, we should separately offer them separately, or automatically when we offer to Krishna, everybody gets his part.
Well, you see, ultimately, yes, you see, Krishna is in the spiritual realm and he's eating every day something. Similarly, associates also. They're not starving. They don't need our offering. But the offering is there, we are doing, this is for our benefit. We offer to Krishna. But Krishna doesn't need, but is accepting for our benefit. And then the associates also, they don't need. Even your Guru Maharaj, he doesn't need what you're offering him. He's fully absorbed in the service of Krishna. He's nourished. But it is for our benefit, so it is a matter of our consciousness. So in the beginning, Prabhupada said, you put the plate in front of Krishna and you chant the pranam mantra to Guru, Mahaprabhu and to Nama Brahmani Devya, and Krishna will accept. And then he didn't explain much further because in the beginning they were not able to understand much. But then afterwards also, there's a process of deity worship. It is explained that you may wash the deity's feet. And so it's a little more personal. And then Krishna will eat. And after Krishna is eaten, and first of all, we take the permission of the spiritual master so we can serve Krishna, or we can serve Mahaprabhu. And then afterwards, then Krishna is eating, or Mahaprabhu is eating. And then in meditation also, and we can also, we can even say with our words, so after offering to Krishna, we give Achman for purification, or we wash the deity's hands and mouth, and in the temple we do practically also, and we give tambul, palm leaves and betel nut. And then afterwards it is offered to the associates of the Lord, Lalita Vishaka, or for Krishna Balaram, the Gopas, they will get. And then afterwards, Golila, so Mahaprabhu's associates. And then the spiritual master, he will also get his share. And then we can practically do also. Okay, first I offer to Krishna, then after the gopis will eat, and then afterwards, so Mahaprabhu will also take, and then his associates. And then I will offer to my spiritual master, and he will eat. So he gives some time. In some temples, if it is very elaborate, then they will transfer the prasadam of Krishna to the Guru's plate and offer to the Guru. But at home it may not be practical. You can do in meditation. So Krishna ate, now the gopis are eating, and you keep it there a little bit for the gopis. Okay, and then Mahaprabhu, his associates, they will also eat. And then afterwards, then my spiritual master will eat, Prabhupada will eat. In this way, then you can keep it there. But you don't have to physically change in another plate. It might be taking too much time. But in meditation, okay, the plate is there, Krishna's plate, then you take something and give to your spiritual master's plate. In meditation, that can be done.
So it should be in two parts, or I think one part, like 15 minutes, like we
Yeah,
meditate.
10 minutes you can give to Krishna, and then after you can keep 5 minutes for the associates of the Lord, for the spiritual master. That you can do, yes.
And you said about Achman. Achman, because sometimes we have multiple deities or multiple laminations. So Achman to every deity or every lamination be required, or like how is it possible?
Well, you have to be practical. You have to see your time,
Yes.
according to time. But the main deity is Krishna, then you do for Krishna. And then depends now, if you have one plate, maybe you have 2 plates at home. If you have Mahaprabhu and you have Krishna, then you may have 2 plates. Then you can do separately. If you have only 1 plate, then you have to make some mental adjustment. Then Mahaprabhu will eat and Krishna will eat also. And then Nachman you just do to Krishna and to Mahaprabhu. You have to be practical.
So is it possible that we do Achman of spiritual master?
That it can be done also.
It can be done.
Yeah.
Because like instead of doing every lamination, you could do like Achman to spiritual master, because he is offering ultimately we are requesting to him. So it is possible.
Yeah, you can do to your spiritual master. Yeah, fine. Yeah.
Second question, as you said, to control mind and senses.
Yeah.
So, because as we are already doing this devotional service on process we are following given by Purport, so is it separately something required to control mind and senses, or already what we are doing, it will be covered in that?
Yes, when you engage in devotional service, like you're serving the deities, then the senses is engaged in Krishna Seva. You're seeing the deities, you're dressing the deities, and then you may chant some mantras, then you're hearing also. The senses are engaged. But then afterwards, and still, but you have to still try to control your mind and senses. Like for example, Pujari is doing Artik, and you can even see sometimes. Doing Artik, but then Brahmachari, is maybe not fixed. And then one young girl is there looking at the deities, and then his eyes will go there, he's looking what the girl is, girl is looking at me or what? What's happening there? You have to still control your senses while you're doing the seva. So you do the seva, and then the senses are engaged in Krishna seva. That is there. So they're controlled. But then you have to endeavor also to control your senses. It's not that Krishna will do everything for you. No. You have to do yourself, but you need Krishna's mercy so you can be successful. And you have to pray to Krishna, because the mind and senses are very strong of the conditioned soul under the modes of material nature. And Maya is there trying to pull down the sadhaka. So when you engage in devotional service, the senses are controlled. But then you have to be careful. And you have to endeavor also that they remain under control. So that has to be there. They're controlled by the mercy of the Lord, but you have to endeavor. And if you're not endeavoring, then they may go here and there. But even if you're endeavoring, it is difficult, so you need the mercy. But you have to endeavor, and you need the mercy both. If you're not, for nothing, nothing comes. If you're not endeavoring, you cannot be successful. And you have to Hare Krishna. So you have to seriously endeavor, sincerely, Hare Krishna.
So according to you, any special way, according to your experience, to control mind and senses, for process?
Well, yeah, basically you have to try to your best. And then you have to try, and you have to cry. You have to cry out for the mercy. You have to cry. Bhakti yoga dan. Bhakti A. Krishna nam smarane krandane. That is bhakti yoga. So you endeavor, you do bhakti yoga, but then you remember Krishna nam, you chant Krishna nam, and you have to krandane, you have to cry, crying for the mercy of Guru Garanga and Krishna. So crying, please, please, Krishna, be merciful. And simply, please, please, but then the tears have to come from your eyes. And then you can be successful, otherwise not. Okay? So.
Prabhuji, my question is, prāṇa-vāyu means, in science it is called oxygen.
Prāṇa-vāyu in science.
In science it is called oxygen.
Okay.
As long as oxygen is there, the body will arise.
No. As long as the soul is inside the body, then after it the body will work.
My question is,
Yes.
whether this oxygen will be there in soul?
No. This is material element, oxygen. Even the gross body and the subtle body, the life air, so that is of this world. That is material. Material body, gross and subtle body. That is material.
So soul does not have oxygen.
The soul doesn't need oxygen. Satchidananda Swarup. It is beyond this material existence. No need of oxygen for the soul. Okay? Hare Krishna. Yes.
What about senses of soul? Soul?
Yeah, of course.
It has its own senses spiritual.
Yeah, spiritual senses are there. Yes. Like Krishna, he has eyes, he has ears. And we as spirit soul, we also have eyes and ears. But transcendental eyes, transcendental ears. But in the beginning it is not developed. It is there but not developed. So by engaging in devotional activities, then the consciousness becomes purified, and then we will understand that we are a spirit soul, and then our transcendental form will manifest also. It is there in seed-like form. So it is already there, our form. But it is, so to say, dormant. Now we are not active in the service to Krishna.
So spiritualizing this what exactly means? Spiritualizing material senses or like?
Yeah, it means, spiritualizing the material senses means engaging them in spiritual activities, and then they become purified, and then our spiritual senses will awaken, and our spiritual existence will awaken. Okay? Fine. Anything else? Yes.
Guruji, this in Bhagavad Gita, as it is, Prabhupada says that Rishikesha Sevanam Bhakti.
Yeah, that is a verse from one of the Puranas. Yes.
He says
Rishikesha Sevanam Bhakti Ruchyate Sarupadivinyo Bhaktam Tatparatvela Niyamanam. Yes.
So he says that Lord Rishikesh, he can always help us to attain mental serenity. And then, just try to understand what I'm saying. My question is, later in the chapter, the opulence of the Absolute, the Vibhuti Yoga, of the many opulences, the Lord says, of the senses and the mind. Of the senses and the mind. Manascha indriyanam, something like that. But he says of the senses and the mind. So my question is, everyone is so bewildered about the mind, because other things are okay, we still engage. The senses, the working senses in the Lord's service. But the mind gets into a cloud. So if the Lord is that opulence, and he can help us to attain mental serenity, and so how that link can be made so that the Lord can be Lord's mercy, or the Lord can be appealed, so as to just do something to this mind, so it attains peace.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you engage the mind in trying to remember Krishna. That's all. You have to. Everything has to be engaged in Krishna seva. The mind also. So you have to try. Hare Krishna. You have to try to remember Krishna. So that's all. Try to remember Krishna, and then the mind will be purified, and you have to preach to your mind. My dear mind, you try to become a devotee. I'm hearing about Krishna, hear about Krishna. I'm speaking about Krishna. So like this, you have to train the mind. You have to educate the mind. Just like a child, you have to educate the child. So you have to educate your own mind. You have to control your mind. You have to preach your mind. So, and sarvāṇi Krishna parāg-ātmā. So you fix the mind at the lotus feet of Krishna. And then Krishna's beautiful form. And then you can become liberated. If Krishna is in your mind, Krishna matirastu. So that is there. So Mahaprabhu was giving blessings. Make Krishna be in your mind, in your consciousness. And then you can come free from the stubborn material mind. Okay? Hare Krishna.